Rock Solid Radio wants to thank Hummel Insurance Group for sponsoring today's show. Hummel Insurance Group now owns and operates 7 different offices located throughout the tri-state area. For over 50 years now, the Hummel Insurance Group has been assisting customers with insurance needs and questions. For all your insurance needs, contact Hummel Insurance Group at 812-537-1785.
Welcome to Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, the Executive Director of Rock Solid Families, and I am here with my so humble, thankful husband, Merrill. What's that look for?
You've never used those words to describe me. What's up with that?
I could be dreaming, right?
Wow. Wow.
I'm just
you
saying.
could be dreaming that I would be a humble, thankful man. Okay,
just
I get
kidding,
it.
just
Just
kidding.
kidding. Yeah,
Just
just
kidding.
like the kids when they're pestering each other and we finally catch them and they go, we were just kidding. We were just kidding. Yeah.
Well, I'm just having some fun, hon. I mean, like, we're almost Thanksgiving. I got my mug. Start each day with a thankful heart.
Would you be upset after Thanksgiving if I went out back and threw that in the air and did a little practice target shooting?
Seriously, I love this.
It looks like a clay bird, kind of.
No, hey, I've got one in mind for Christmas.
Oh, no.
I don't know if I can use it on a faith-based
What
program.
is it?
It talks about something about the naughty list.
Oh, no. I'll have to edit the whole show just because of the mug. I'll have to get one of those frosting things where I can
and if they're listening,
blur
they're
it
not
out.
watching the mug. But, it is the holiday season. We're all excited.
You all think she's an angel. You don't even know. Don't even know.
Honey, did you hear the kids were asking the other day when we're going to decorate? Are you excited? Can't you wait?
Yeah. My ever humble and thankful heart is just can't wait. I'm thrilled.
So it is kind of cute how when we were younger and had 2 little boys, none of them liked to decorate.
Yep.
But then we
do like to cut the tree down.
Yeah, but we were blessed with a daughter through adoption, and so Mackenzie, I think, likes decorating more than I do.
There's no question about that.
Yeah, and she has her own little box of like holiday decorations that she cannot wait to get out. And so,
Even though her room is messy, it is kind of to die for
yeah.
with decorations.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
she's got lights going on. She's got things hanging.
and she's got decorations for all seasons.
Yes.
They're all
And she
like
literally spends the day, we're coming into the Christmas season. And what are you doing today? Decorating my room. I'm like, oh my gosh.
You don't sound like you're dripping with humility and thankfulness right now.
It is Thanksgiving.
Yes.
We should talk a little bit about that today. Let's talk about humbleness and Thanksgiving.
Huh, that's funny. That's happened to be the
That's
title of
our
our
topic.
program.
Have you ever heard that country music song by Mac Davis?
No, I have never heard Mac Davis. Is that like,
Where are you from?
is that a real singer?
Yes. Oh my gosh, people, help me. Mac Davis.
Are you saying Matt Davis or
Mac?
Because we know a Matt Davis.
No,
Matt, are you listening?
no,
Are you singing a song?
Our Matt Davis is crazy, but he could actually sing this song probably pretty well.
I thought that's where you were
we'll
going with
actually
that.
have to share this to
Yeah.
him now because he knows Mac Davis because he knows this song.
How do you know that?
It's hard to be humble. You've never heard that song.
No, I have not heard that song.
All right,
Are you
tune
going to
it
sing
up.
it for us?
Tune it up.
No,
All right.
no. You might want to turn down the radio.
I don't think I've ever done this before. I'm starting to get stage fright.
You're going to sing?
Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. Yeah, I can't wait to look in the mirror, 'cause I get better looking each day. To know me is to love me. I must be a heck of a man. Oh, Lord, it's hard to be humble, but I'm doing the best that I can. I'll stop right there. 'Cause
Yes, please.
I'm even making myself
Sick?
You've never heard that song?
No.
I'm
I've not.
embarrassed for you.
I would love to know if you're listening on Rock Solid Radio Land, if you've heard that song, please mention in the comments that you've heard that or not.
That would
and
be-
what you thought of Merle's singing.
No, you don't. Please don't. I'm thin-skinned. Please don't do that.
You know
Please
what?
don't.
Before we go any further, we probably should thank some sponsors.
We better,
Yeah.
because we've already gone off
Because
the
we
rails.
might be losing a few after this. We want to thank Maxwell Construction, Casey's Outdoor Solution, and our newest sponsor, Hummel Insurance Group, for
Yes.
coming alongside us and Rock Solid Radio to really allow us to do what we're doing today, which I'm not really sure what that is yet. But
We have to start apologizing in the shows.
you know, there was something about you singing with your beard.
Chris Kringle, as they called me at our card group the other night. They said, "You look like Chris Kringle." I'm like, how am I supposed to take that?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a compliment or not.
I'm figuring that out still. Couple of announcements we got coming up for Rock Solid Families, actually. So, man, we are actually looking very excited for 2022. We do want to say something to you guys.
You really want to tell them a secret?
Yeah, I do, because
Not all of it.
So part of Linda and I's work in Rock Solid Families is a huge part is marriage and family coaching. And we've said before that we're kind of in a rural area, but it blows us away how busy we are with marriage and family coaching work and how far people travel to do that. Yeah. I mean, so just at least 50% of our population travels a good 35, 40 minutes to come out
Sometimes
to the
more
country.
than an hour.
Yeah, more than that even. But so that really made us think. Plus, we are just two people. And this is not because we are great. This is because there's such a need. There's such a need. And so we decided that we have to figure out how to do what we're doing better to be able to reach more people. And so just like we do coaching, we came alongside of a company. I'll actually call them out, and it is a plug for them, really. It's called Win All Day. And we are being coached, and we are being coached because we want to be able to do what we do better. And we're going to we are in the process of creating a program that is going to be able to be done virtually. It'll basically be, what we're looking at here is probably about a 7 to 8 week kind of program. That doesn't mean it's exactly that long, but that's about what we're looking at. And it's going to be professionally done. And it's going to allow us to put out a program that will help people, reload on that marriage, learn how to do marriage better, that kind of thing. And also still a level of one-on-one involvement. And we'll explain more of how that will actually work in this new model. So we are just fired up about it.
Yeah.
We're learning, and sometimes learning stinks.
And it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
We're doing a lot of work when we are not coaching or podcasting.
Yeah, we're laying down groundwork. And the goal here is hopefully, because we believe that the core of what makes our society healthy is this family thing. And that starts with marriage, which is based under God's word. And so that's what we're looking to do. So we're looking forward to 2022.
And I think COVID really helped us on, we've prayed for quite a few years of how can we exponentially reach more people for the gospel and this hope and this help that marriages and families need desperately. And we have prayed about that. And so I think this is before COVID even. I think COVID really opened our eyes and the nation's eyes to how we can do things differently when we can't be around each other. And so we actually now Zoom quite a few families and couples. And sometimes the couples are separated because of addictions or, distance with work. And so we can bring them together and we can work on that marriage and that family, even remotely. And so I'm not saying that's the ultimate best every time, but when there's no other options, this is a really good alternative. So I think COVID really opened our eyes to that. And we're excited. We're excited about this. And so tune in. That's going to be more in 2022, but that's something we're working on now. And we are excited to launch that.
Good stuff. We also we continue to do live events. And as COVID is hopefully starting to fade out, I think I've said that more than a few times, but we're getting out there and doing actually more live events and that kind of thing. And so we've got a really neat one that's coming together, and it's going to be more parenting based, and it's being sponsored by the Urban Crest Church out of Lebanon, Ohio. That's going to be February 12th. We don't have all of the details on that. We're going to be having a little meeting here this week, getting all of the details, and we're going to be plugging that along the way as well because they are opening the door to wanting this to be a good size event. Yeah.
So if you're in need for some parenting tips and tools, then tune in and keep your eye out for that. And we'll be talking about that. But it's more in February 12th. Yeah.
Got a question for you.
Oh, man.
It's that time again. It's question time. We should start.
Is
this should be a part of our
Is that after singing time? Singing time and then question
time? So we do
time?
and part of our variety show, our talent shows, we do a singing time. Okay. And now we have question time.
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
Got a question for you, Miss Linda, as you slam me with my humility and my thankfulness. Have you ever been accused of thinking that you are better than others? I know the answer to this, so you better be truthful.
Because we are in the working ages of our life, we're not in the retirement age, there's definitely been times when I have challenged my boss thinking that I knew better than they did. And that didn't go over very well. I'm just going to say. And, I was so passionate and I was so dead on that I knew and I believed in this. And, it may have come out of a good heart, but it was handled wrong, and it came off very arrogant. It came off very self-centered as far as what you want and what the greater good was. And a lot of times I was put in my place more than once of just like, no, Linda, this isn't the direction we're going, and this isn't what we're going to do next. And so I had to be humbled in that and realize that I don't have all the answers, and my way isn't the only way.
Yeah, hon, we've all been there, okay? And sometimes we think that we're coming through with the right heart, right? Because that's why you got passionate about that.
Right,
that's
right.
why you were getting fired up like, no, like this is what we need to do. And it gets real blurry between our heart, because that's where our energy, and that's an emotion, right? And we talk about that all the time. Emotions are what give us energy to do things. And so all of a sudden we have an emotion that's driving our pride. I can't take not getting my way here because I'm right. And yeah, my heart's in it. I'm emotionally charged about it. And so we are fooled into thinking that it must be right because our heart is so on fire to do this. And it's pride that can get in the way. And we're going to be talking about that. Like, wait, I need to check this at the door. And I remember one time in one of those situations, and I'll say this cautiously to all of us out there, we get so passionate about things that we pray about them. And then we come to people and we say, listen, we've got to do this. I've been praying about this. I've been praying about this. And that's a dangerous place to get, because that's making the assumption, especially when it's opposing somebody else, that they don't pray. Like, well, they must not be praying, and so my prayers must be trumping theirs. And it's like, so we do have to, these kinds of things are often emotionally driven. Like, no, actually, I'm just so far out in the emotion of it and the pride. So, boy, I've been down that road before.
Yeah. So how about you? You're not getting out of this.
No, I've never been accused of that.
Come on. Cough it up.
So this is in, I'll speak kind of personally to how we got called out, and I'll just say me, just because it's my turn to get called out. When you and I first came into our reborn faith, is what I'll call that. So we were in our early 30s, and we see this all the time with new Christians. They're so excited. They're so excited. They're passionate because maybe they're hearing things they've always heard, but now they're hearing them. Man,
with
now,
fresh,
and it's
open
like,
ears and fresh eyes.
They get the heart. They get excited. They get energy from that, and that happened to us. And coming from the faith background that we did, and all of our family was in that faith background, we started talking with all kinds of excitement about our newfound faith, so to speak. And we didn't realize it, but we were coming off, and again, I have to say I, because it's my turn.
You can include me in that. I'm sure I was.
Well, I was coming off self-righteous. I was coming off like I knew better than they did, because it was like, guys, you need to, instead of doing this, you need to do this. Like my way, this is so much better. I think at first they kind of just looked at us, but after a while or a year or so, we were becoming predictable in their eyes. Like, I wonder if they're going to talk about this today when we get together at the family outing, and sure enough, we would. And we got called out on it. Like, guys, I don't know what's the deal, but you think you're better than all of the rest of us now. You came from the same thing that we came from. And this is not about like we're hanging around terrible sinners so we should get away from them. No, it was about us trying to be very self-righteous and prideful out of a good heart, right? Out of a good heart. But it was our pride in this that was not allowing us to do a very good job of teaching and bringing people along the way Christ would do. So, that was tough.
Yeah, and that's funny that you mentioned that, hon, because I honestly think that that's part of what has repelled people from the gospel
Yeah.
is our kind of Pharisee hypocritical approach that we kind of look down on other people. Like we've, got this secret thing that they don't have that, and honestly, we should come with a humble heart of, hey, I'm a sinner saved by grace too, man. And I don't deserve his mercy and his love.
Right.
And so that comes with great humility instead of arrogance. And I think that really turns people off from the church. When those church people looks like they look down on others. No, who wants that?
Right.
They're not going to come in your doors, but they feel like, hey, God really worked in me and he saved me from the things that I was doing that, this is offered to you too. Then there's a little bit different approach there.
It's hard to understand the idea, like this is an area we glaze over when we read in Scripture, but when you read in Scripture, I can't even tell you exactly where it's at, the idea that not one heart is good. Like nobody's heart is good.
All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, Romans 3:23.
You're good. That's that part, but it's actually but no heart is good. And the idea there that because you are human, right? No heart is good enough. It doesn't mean that, everybody's evil and everybody's doing evil, but the nature of us, the human nature of us. And we like to cherry pick those kind of things. And so we were caught out, and rightfully so. And we're still learning. I think, I'm learning more and more about what it is to be purified, to be sanctified, that idea that it's an ongoing process and nobody ever arrives. You are the work in progress.
Yeah. And so the difference you see in people who have really modeled this is this humility and this thankfulness that they're so grateful for everything. I mean, it would be a person that did start each day with a thankful heart and continue to do that in everything. They wouldn't look at it as, I deserve that, or you owe me that, or, you better do that for me. I mean, that wouldn't be thankfulness, right? And that would be kind of arrogance.
Yeah.
And that's where we really have got to demonstrate what Christ did, that servant mentality, right?
Yeah. So now we're talking about that. We've opened the door to it. So I have another kind of question, because this is how it can come off the other way. So let's say we live a life of humility.
Yeah.
Okay. How do we live a life of humility without looking like some broken down, poor me martyr? Right. Well, no, I'm not good enough to do that. Well, I'm not, I don't know. It'll probably not because of me that we're winning the championship, that kind of thing. Like, so how do we walk in humility without being some like sheepish little broken down, pathetic martyr?
Yeah, that's a great question. And
that's
I
why
I didn't even really know there was such thing as false humility until somebody really called me out on that as well. And that, we are called to be confident, confident in who Christ has made us to be, confident in what he has done in our lives, not in like, oh, well, I don't know if I'm worthy of going to heaven. No, you're not worthy of going to heaven, but it's because of him and his sacrifice. And so really the way it was said to me, and I love this, is that when you falsely, deflate yourselves, then you minimize the power of the cross.
Right.
That you really don't think God was big enough to save you, or Jesus's sacrifice was enough. And so that's not what he wants either. So that really kind of put me in my place, like, oh, that really, I don't want to go to the other extreme, right? Like you said.
Yeah, that's it. I've been guilty of that too. Like, on the golf course, you'll hear guys say that guy's a sandbagger, a sandbagger. And I've been accused of that occasionally, not very often because I'm not good enough to really be a good sandbagger.
Is that false humility, or is that reality?
Like, oh, I'm not that good. I probably can't do that. I'll go back. I'll be the last. And then next thing you know, you kind of step up and you do a whole lot better than everybody else thought. And then they all look at you like you were awesome. And you kind of pridefully go, wow, I'm pretty good, aren't I? Yeah.
I didn't know I still had that in me.
Yeah. And so that's that sandbagger mentality, but that's actually a manipulation more than anything. And so trying to wrap our head around this, and this is kind of, I've used this description before, but I'm trying to get better at thinking about like how do we do this well. And I think, Hun, as you said before, we have been given gifts. And we are to be great stewards of those gifts. And we are to use them, right? Like if you're an athlete, that's just like not random. Like you are blessed to be an athlete. If you're good with numbers and money and accounting, oh, that hits a note with us, doesn't it? No.
That would not be me.
No. Okay, we struck out there. But man, use that, right? If you're good with speaking, if you're good with encouragement, if you're good with raising money. But here's kind of the deal. So I think about the guy running the football and finally crosses into the end zone, and
he does a little dance.
He does his dance and he beats his chest. Okay, now that's that pride that we've talked about before. Look at me, look what I've done. This I am great. Okay, versus the guy who beats his chest and then looks straight up to God and. Again, authentically, if it's for the sake of a show, no.
For the camera,
But if it's authentically like, thank you, God. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity, for giving me the gift, and then going over and thanking your quarterback, your linemen, your teammates. Like all of a sudden, that is, so that whole idea that we should celebrate greatness in our life, gifts in our lives, but we should celebrate them in the way that gives honor to where they came from, because they didn't come from us.
Yeah, honey, and this is so good. And when you first put these words together, I was like, humility and thankfulness. This is just kind of an odd combo, but I look at it with our kids and I think, wow, here's our problem. We have so many parents who are like, my kid doesn't appreciate that, or they never say thank you, and it's because we've elevated our children into this throne of they're the king of the castle, they're the queen of the family, and we've treated them like they deserve those things, that they should get those things, and because of that, there's no thankfulness, there's no gratitude in that. And sometimes it's bringing our kids off the throne, allowing them to realize they're not the center of the world. They don't deserve all of these things that they've been given. That really comes that gratitude, I think. They go together.
They won't buy this for Christmas, but the greatest gift you can give them is to learn humility. They won't buy it. They won't like it. Okay, they'll want to take it back, right? This was the worst Christmas ever, Mom. But that whole idea that as parents over the long haul, that we teach that humility because it is the gift that then allows us to rightfully work with people, to put things in their proper place, to understand how I'm supposed to steward things. Like, Hun, there's been times you get more fired up at being in a crowd and working with people. Okay. And that feeds you, and that's really cool. I know that I have a level of gift to do that, but it doesn't always feed me. Like it can drain me down. But I feel more obligated. Like, you know what? You are able to help. You're able to coach. You've been given a skill at some level to do this. It's part of what you do in stewardship. And so me like trying to wrap my head around that, because the lazy version of me would like to say, I'd like to pass on that. But trying to be a better steward, I want to be thankful. And it's like, no, this is what we're called to do. And that's like that constant balance of being a steward of what you've been given.
Yeah. And so we did not do this growing up, but I love the idea when parents will say, hey, on Thanksgiving, we're going to go serve the meal at the homeless shelter. Or we're going to go run the gobble wobble, and we're going to bring food for the food pantry.
People outside of the community are going to go.
Don't know it's gobble wobble.
Gobble who?
It's a benefit run on Thanksgiving morning.
It's a local St. Leon, and it started with just like 50 or 60 people, and now it's up into
it's
like
crazy.
600, 700, 800, 900 people
So it's
in St. Leon, Indiana.
It's Thursday morning on Thanksgiving morning. But the point is that it's not all about you. If we could help our children, help our families, help ourselves be reminded that it's not all about us, and that we've been given these gifts, regardless of how much money's in the bank account or how many presents are under the tree, that we can really understand with humility how blessed we are and how we don't really deserve it, but then we come out with a thankful heart.
Good coaches, good teachers, good parents take time to teach their kids where credit should go, and always directing it not solely to the kid, but to the people around, right? And that's where proudness comes from, not pride. We've talked about that before. Pride is pride has an I in it when I did it. Proud is when we did it. It's the big group. And so I can be proud of our family because of the history of it, all the people that came before us who did things, and that thankfulness then that you have. And so, Hun, it boils down to another word that in our culture is a challenge for us, and that is that whole idea of you were born for one purpose, and that is to serve God, to be a servant. And Christ actually gave a literal example of that. And I think that just kind of blew his disciples away because they were like, don't do that. That's weird.
You're not going to wash our feet, are you?
Yeah, and it's in John 13, 1 through 7 actually gives a description. And basically, you know the story. They're all sitting around at the Passover supper, and Christ does something really weird. He starts to take off his outer garments and gets a bowl of water. And he says, I need you to follow this example. And he basically starts washing each of their feet. And they're kind of weirded out. Like I would be weirded out, right? Like this is because at that time they're starting to refer to him as Lord and like King and like, you don't do that. We should do that for you. And his whole idea is like, no, like this is how we build in so that we can teach people what we're giving, but then to be thankful for. And so that idea of service.
Yeah. And honestly, I've done this before with my students. It's harder for me to have my feet washed.
Yeah.
It's very humble for someone to do this for me. And it was something very weird about that. I'll serve all day, but then sometimes it's a matter of being served. So it goes both ways. I mean, we're talking all about serving, but sometimes we have to receive. I know a lot of people who are so proud, they won't take a help or a handout or, a gift. And they'll be like, no, I need to do it, And so we've got to be able to give and receive in humility, in thankfulness. And I think that is where things go. Hun, I got to share this story with you real quick because I haven't even shared this with you yet. But
is this going to be a tearjerker?
No. Well, it was a tearjerker for this client. But one of the clients I've been working with is a woman who's been dealing with some anxiety. And she's really struggling with turning it over to God. And she asked me, she said, Linda, how do you do that? How do you do that? When, she said, when did you finally do that? And without even really realizing her story when I was doing it, I said, it was when you had your first panic attack. And it was when we were not able to do what we normally did. And all of a sudden it was realizing like, hey, God's still here. And God still is with us, and he is still working. And it was crazy how we got to the end of ourselves, and it humbled us. But it was crazy because I didn't even realize what I was saying to her, but that was really when that turned over for us. And she got a little glimmer in her eye like, oh, because here she's experienced the exact same thing. And she's wanting this. She's wanting this trust in the Lord and this dependence on him. And it was crazy how it came when one of the lowest, hardest times of our lives.
Yeah, it's that surrender, that idea that you have to give up on yourself and you are not the champion. You're not the top dog. You're not the one that all the credit goes to. And I've said many times about that whole experience, I don't ever want to go through that again. I stay on my treatment protocols. I take care of myself that way because I do not want to go through that again. But I'm at that point where I'm so thankful for it because it just shaped so many different grooming things in us, like having to be at the end of our road, realizing we weren't in control.
But you said giving up on yourself, and I don't think you gave up on yourself. You just turned the reins over to the one who could do a much better job.
Giving up on myself and me being the solution master of this, And
you gave it to the Lord because I don't want to give to anybody else. Don't make us mistake here of don't turn that control and power over to someone else. We're saying, let the control reins go and give it to the Lord. Humble yourselves, knowing that there is a greater power, because it is the first step in the 12-step program, is realizing that you are alone powerless and that there is a higher power who wants to help you. And that's when you get grateful. That's when you realize, like, oh, Lord, I can't do this without you.
Yeah, and it's a great, so some people, when we talk about how do I learn to give up on that stuff, we do it actually with God,
Give up on
of
what
course,
stuff?
Giving up on us having to be the master of everything,
gotcha.
us having to be in control, us having to do everything, us having to be the solution finder for everything. And the idea is we allow people in our life. We allow people to help and do things. When you say, I've got to do this and this and this, and hun, this is, you and I have talked about this, you get overwhelmed by all the things you have to do. And I just say, just ask me.
Yeah.
Like, I want to help. I don't, listen, I'm not a sharp cookie. I don't know that the carpet needs to be vacuumed all the time.
Yeah.
But I want to help.
And if I walk around like a martyr, like with my list, not willing to share, not willing to ask for help, so it's very humbling.
Yeah, you start with people too, and letting them in, and it's okay if you don't cover everything, because that's why we're in community. That's why we do help carry each other.
Yeah. So I think that's a great point, Hun, to end on, as we challenge you to really look within and say, am I trying to control everything? Am I trying to expect and demand from people and not realize that we need to approach people and situations with humility and gratefulness and really create that community of support? We cannot do it alone. The enemy wants to isolate us. His two biggest weapons are isolation and shame. So if he makes you feel like no one is there to help you and that you don't deserve help or that you deserve better than that, he's got you right where he wants you.
Yeah, no question about it. So, hey, we are wrapping up. Hopefully you got a little bit out of our topic today, a bit, just that balance of humility and thankfulness and coming into the Thanksgiving season. I've got a little challenge for you also in the idea of just take a little time and think about all of the things in your life that you're thankful for and the people that allow that to happen. You know, we are so thankful for and we've taken it for granted. But now the longer we work with other families, the fact that we came from such great parents. Yeah. And we didn't get to choose them, right? and sometimes, you know.
And they're not perfect.
Yeah, they're not. But we came from parents who did believe in God, do believe in God, and that also taught us these humility things and these service things. And, you know, when you're growing up, you just don't think about that. This is just my life. And now we see younger people all the time, they just don't have that. And so they don't understand. So out of survival, they become their own God, their own problem solver. They're all of these own things. And so take some time to think about people who've just been awesome in your life and wrap your head around what it would look like to say thank you to them.
Yeah.
Whether it's a little helping them out or just say, hey, just wanted to say thanks, or just calling and checking on them, you know, just letting them know that they are valuable to you.
Yeah. And we want to take a moment here just to thank all of our partners, the people that have walked alongside us, hundreds and hundreds of families and businesses and churches and schools who have said, we believe in this mission of strong and healthy families, and we want to support what you're doing. It's been very humbling, Hun, that people a lot of them are sacrificial gifts. People that don't have a lot of money have given quite a bit to say, we believe in you. And that's been very humbling. And we're so grateful, so thankful. We don't deserve it, but we know that God is at work here. This is his mission. This is his ministry, not ours. And we're just trying to be good stewards and faithful followers from him. And so we thank you for partnering with us in this mission.
Absolutely. So we want to close things out. You guys have a great Thanksgiving. Go ahead and eat too much, you know, just go out, go big. What the heck, you know, have fun mostly, enjoy your family, be thankful, do us a favor, share our shows, help us out in that way. That's a huge help. Subscribe to them, give us 5-star ratings. A biggest thing that we love is that if a show hits you in a way that you feel like it could help someone else, share it to them. I just had a gentleman just this morning say, man, you guys talked this. It was on Strong Edge. You guys just talked this, and I shared it with my son. And I was like, that's cool. That's what we're about. So share these shows.
So as we close, we want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions and Hummel Insurance Group and Maxwell Construction for their support of Rock Solid Radio. And we just want to thank you for listening to Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community, one family at a time. Make it a great day.
You think I'll ever sing again on the? You think I'm done with that? Like that wasn't a gift?
Oh my gosh, maybe we should edit that out.
Jeez. So it wasn't a gift. Great. Thanks, Lord.
You have many gifts,
Thanks.
but that's not one.
That hurts.
I love you.
Rock Solid Radio wants to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions. Casey's is a premier garden center and gift shop located in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. They offer a wide selection of high-quality plants, landscaping materials, and home decor. They do amazing high-quality work and can help you transform your indoor and outdoor living spaces into something beautiful. So stop by Casey's Outdoor Solutions today and let them know you appreciate their support for Rock Solid Radio. Visit Casey's today at 21481 State Line Road, Lawrenceburg, Indiana.
Rock Solid Radio wants to thank Maxwell Construction, who has been our sponsor since the very beginning. For over 30 years, Maxwell has delivered the highest quality projects by holding to their core values of customer satisfaction, positive attitude, respect, and excellence. So if you have any kind of commercial construction need, give Maxwell Construction a call today at 812-537-2200.